So Fresh and Fit gets demonetized, and Jordan Peterson has his own little debacle in Canada, and they're telling him he has to go through Reeducation. Yeah, a lot of people are out there wondering if Red Pill or Manosphere or anything related to helping men out type content is about to be banned off the platform.
The beginning of the end of this era.
So we are in trolling chat. So
yeah. So you literally can't. Yeah, man. So it's so basically we're gonna figure out what's going on because we don't even really know all the details. We're working with YouTube to try to come to a middle ground and work together and figure this out. But for now.
Before we get started, guys, I want you to know right now that, once again, a lot like the video that I did on Andrew Tate, this right here is not a condemnation. This is not a pro either side here. This is a video simply explaining why it is that one group or one person is going through a load of BS in his native country and is being basically forced to go through a re-education camp. Another is to talk about why it was that a certain podcast may have been demonetized. And while demonetization is not the same as banning, it is definitely similar in the sense that, quite frankly, it demotivates you from posting, but we will get to that towards the end of the video. And we have to ask the question, is Red Pill, Manosphere, and even self-help type content, is it under fire? And is it at risk of being removed? So make sure you guys stick around for the full video. Gang, this right here is the first of 3 videos. However, it's very weird that I'm saying first of 3 videos because in reality, this video is set to come out on Friday, where it is the one on the C91, as I have to call it. The new restrictions are coming back in. That video will be out on Thursday. However, I do expect that video to also get a yellow $sign, but I'm going to be releasing this video on Friday. And I'm also going to be releasing a video on the whole Passport Bros thing on Saturday. So make sure you guys stick around for all those videos. And of course, my project on the death of ESPN, or how ESPN died, that should be coming out on Sunday, as well as the video on... I'm going to be explaining to you guys what a Claymore really and truly is. However, that video will be out on Gear Issue 33 on Sunday. So, we got a lot to cover here. And I've already given you guys my thoughts on one particular person in the Manosphere. I'll be linking those videos in the description box. And I just want to go ahead and say this. I think that men are smart enough to be able to separate the good advice from the bad. And I think that men, more than anything else in the world, they need something called trial and error, experience. They need actual experience in the field, meaning that they need to actually get out there and actually try. Now, I understand that some people are going to look at this video and say, here comes a guy who's going to bash Fresh and Fit, and that's not the case. Not at all. My feelings are the same on Fresh and Fit that they are on Andrew Tate and anybody else in the Manosphere. I'm pretty sure that most men can decide what works for them and what does not work for them. You just have to go out there in the field and actually put it to work and see exactly what happens, what's right, what's wrong. However, many people have brought up the topic of the Manosphere being banned as a whole, but yet here it is. I see Rollo Tomasi channel still exists. I don't really watch him very, very often, but I do know he's out there. Donovan Sharp still exists. And of course, there's now John Jerka. He exists. However, it was Sneeko who got banned, I think, a couple of years ago, and now he is on Rumble. We'll be talking more about him in a little bit when we get to the whole Fresh and Fit stuff, but I want to go ahead and talk about Jordan Peterson first. So, Jordan Peterson, who, by the way, I don't really and truly consider to be a part of the Manosphere, is really more along the lines of the basic clean up your room, that type of guy there. He's a very, very smart guy. You watch his debates, his speeches, anytime he's actually spoken, especially when he put that feminist in her place in England a while back. I'll try to link that video in the description box. Jordan Peterson falls more in line with just good old-fashioned basic self-help. Yes, he could be a little bit cringe, but also at the same time, he is also, for the most part, gives very, very good advice. And every now and again, he's good to listen to, but yet sometimes, of course, he's also quite cringe. He, for the most part, has been usurped by a guy like, say, Andrew Tate, for example. I'll link the Uber Soy video in the description box as well to get that one. I'll get an explanation to you guys for that one as well. But the thing is this right here. If you actually look at the bounds of this case, so practically what's going on is that Canada, for the most part, is upset about the fact that Jordan Peterson sends out tweets. They want him to go through a re-education seminar to keep his, how do I say, his license to be able to teach at the university that he teaches at. That type of stuff there. Just more and more BS. Now, I'm going to roll these next 2 minutes or so, which, by the way, is Pierre. I don't really know how to actually pronounce this name, but I'm showing you guys this guy's profile. Apparently, he's becoming very, very big in Canada. He has some thoughts on this, and, of course, it goes to the whole topic of free speech. Iron needs to be able to sharpen iron, that type of thing there. I'm going to go ahead and roll this, come back on the other side, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the other side of the coin of this whole manosphere thing, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts towards the end.
Of psychologists has told Jordan Peterson that he either undergo retraining for social media etiquette or lose his license to practice as a clinical psychologist. This follows a number of complaints by people who don't like his online posts, one of which is a retweet of something I posted, another is a criticism of Justin Trudeau. Now, it should go without saying that in a free country, professionals should not lose their jobs and licenses because they express a political opinion contrary to the licensing body that's mandated by the government. But, of course, in saying this, my liberal critics in the media will, of course, say, well, Poilievre agrees with freedom of speech for someone like Dr. Peterson, therefore he must endorse everything Dr. Peterson has ever said. Well, of course not. I don't endorse 100% of everything anyone has ever said. There's no two people in the world who agree 100% of the time on 100% of things. And so I'm sure there is something he's posted that I do object to, but that is not the point, because freedom of speech only matters when you disagree. I mean, if we all agreed, we wouldn't need freedom of speech because no one has ever tried to censor someone for saying something that they agree with. It is only when there is a disagreement that it matters. And that's what distinguishes Canada, a free country, from dictatorships. Dictators don't censor things their citizens say that the dictator agrees with, only things they disagree with. Here in Canada, though, unfortunately, through the cancel culture and the woke movement we've seen at university campuses, in the media, and now increasingly in big, powerful corporations, and most recently with a professional licensing body, we're seeing the idea that someone can lose their job, their status, their ability to study because they express something that is contrary to the government line. Now, I don't believe that is the Canada we want. We have Section 2B of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. To be or not to be, that is the question. And the answer is that, as Voltaire has been quoted as saying, I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend to my death your right to say it.
I can't agree more. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm going to defend your right to say it. I may not agree with it. I may not like it, but you're still allowed to say it. Obviously, the infected do not agree with this. I mean, as I've said before, I call them the infected because they're not exactly classically liberal anymore. There's something else. It's almost like it's more along those lines. I'll put it this way here. I know a lot of people in 2016 that were, for the most part, pretty well conservative, probably would have voted Republican, but the minute Trump came around, it's like, for whatever reason, pure hatred just came out of their brains and their hearts. These are not liberal people, by the way. They were actually moderately conservative. Same thing with liberals, too. They did the same thing over Hillary Clinton. It's almost like something about that election cycle just did something to certain people. It's like it just turned them inside out, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And normal things that, quite frankly, we would be agreeing about, we're now fighting over. And, of course, to go on top of that, as I may have mentioned earlier, yeah, you can say whatever the hell you want. I may not like it, but, of course, I will defend your right to free speech. It just is, it's just pretty damn crappy that we have one side of the aisle that if they get a minor critique, they absolutely flip out. So you heard that. Now, let's go ahead and be honest. Jordan Peterson isn't even really a part of the manosphere, like I said before. He's not even really a part of the red pill content, if you ask me. He's more along the lines of just self-help. He's somebody who tells you to pick up your clothes, make your bed, that type of thing there. Of course, everything that he has said that would come true has, of course, come true, especially in our society. I don't think I have to mention exactly what the hell it is that most of you guys are witnessing, especially those on the very, very radical left. The radical left hates Jordan Peterson. even though he's an extremely soft-spoken person. One of the main things they look to is they look at the fact that his office is always in some form of disarray. You don't even have your office clean. Well, it's very, very possible he just didn't clean his office that day. Maybe he was just organizing things. They picked the very, very smallest thing in the world to go after you on. By the way, when I'm talking about the left in this case, I'm talking about the infected. I'm not talking about classical liberals. So go ahead and know right now that if you're a classical liberal and you want to watch my content, you are welcome here. Just please keep your criticisms or whatnot. Make sure you're professional about it. We can have a serious conversation. Maybe I can learn something from you. Maybe you can learn something from me. Iron, of course, sharpening iron. What I will not do, however, is have conversations with the infected because they normally put the stupidest things in the comment section. I had a guy 2 days ago after I after I told the truth about what was going on in the Pinky Doll situation, leave like a whole novel in the comment section that, quite frankly, was completely unreadable. If you put something in the comments that long, I'm probably just going to make fun of you for wasting all your time. It tells me that, quite frankly, you don't have a life if you're able to write a 5,000-word essay in the comment section. So obviously something triggered you, and quite frankly, there's probably a reason for it. It's called you're mentally ill. That's the reason why. Or you've got some very, very bad emotional problems, which of course would also still mean that you look back on topic. Fact of the matter is this right here. Jordan Peterson is quite tame, and anytime that he throws the criticism out there, these people go absolutely crazy. It's just more and more proof that these people don't believe in any form of accountability. If they believed in some form of accountability, then they would not be so triggered by his content. And like I've said before, he really and truly is quite tame compared to others. I think it was Ethan Klein decided to delete his episodes with Jordan Peterson because he was scared that it would upset the crowd that he was landing into. Well, look at Ethan now. That's all I've got to say about that. But before we go any further, before I get to Fresh and Fit, before I get on the topic of free speech itself, I need to go ahead and say this. A while back, it typically was conservatives like myself or Christian conservatives. We were the ones that would actually call something out in society we didn't like. Or we'd call something out on television. Of course, the left, for the most part, would roast us. This right here is back when they were good old-fashioned classical libs or very, very much moderate libs. After a while, you develop a bit of a sense of humor. I'll give you an example of what I mean. South Park. South Park came out in 1997. I remember at that time that I was 12 years old. Yes, I'm getting old. And I used to stay up at night watch it. Now, we had a big old hoopla. My parents never really said anything to me about it, but we had a big old hoopla about a year or so ago where parents were calling into the school and they were upset about South Park paraphernalia. South Park shirts were actually pretty big at that time. And, of course, you had all kinds of designs, mostly with Cartman on them, or Kenny. You know, oh, my God, they killed Kenny, stuff like that. People got upset, they outraged, and they freaked about it. And the school was actually banning T-shirts and hats and paraphernalia. I don't think hats really existed, but I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this. Anything South Park related got banned. Same exact thing happened with Beavis and Butthead. However, eventually what occurred is that Christian conservative groups went to Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they never demanded that the content come off the air. They just simply asked that the content be moved from what was 10 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock at night because most kids aged, I would say, between kindergarten to possibly maybe 13, 14 years old, they would more than likely be going to bed at that time, whereas the 15, 16-year-old child, young man, young girl, would have a better understanding of the content, would probably not be as immature. Then again, though, it's also funny how it is that middle school kids oftentimes find a way to be more mature than high school kids. With that right there being said, however, though, let's go ahead and get to Fresh and Fit. Before I dive into Fresh and Fit and show you some of the things that were said, I'm going to play this with no header or anything on it, just kind of give you guys a bit of an idea of what's going on here. I've seen a lot of tweets about this, and I'll give you guys my personal thoughts in a second. But the reason why I'm going ahead without a header, at one point in time, they got this thing where they were copyrighting people, but I think they were copyrighting people who were just criticizing their content at the time. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is. Just know that I'm not going to copyright you for criticizing my content because I just don't believe in copyright claims. I mean, I just had a copyright claim on a video that I did on Gear Issue 33 that they hit me with the morning after it was posted. Well, actually, it had been posted for 4 days, but it went public, and then they hit me with a content copyright claim the very, very next day. And of course, I had to spend all morning trying to get that entire thing squared away before they finally removed the copyright claim. So trust me, if you've ever been hit with a copyright claim and you are an actual content creator, trust me, I feel your pain. Let's go ahead and roll this segment, and I'll come back on the other end.
So this is the beginning of the end of this era.
So we are in trolling chat. So
yeah. So you literally can't. Yeah, man. So it's so basically, we're gonna figure out what's going on because we don't even really know all the details. We're working with YouTube to try to come to a middle ground and work together and figure this out. But for now,
We don't even know why.
We
Yeah.
don't know the specific reason.
Misogyny.
But we don't, in any form or fashion,
Chris,
hate YouTube or want to go at them. We're just saying, you know what? We wish we knew the reason why, but we respect, you know, for them to use the platform and keeping us here for a while. And like,
yeah,
you know, we appreciate
me personally, and something else too was that it was said, and I'll leave the full segment in the description box. Like I said, it's been about 3 or 4 days old. I'm just not getting to it, but the thing is this here, they brought up, I want to say it was Myron said it, that he believed that what it was the 2024 election coming up. Myron and Fresh are, in fact, Trump voters, okay? And you can agree with them or disagree with them on the issues if you want to. That is fine with me. There are some things that they say, quite frankly, that I disagree with. But then again, at the same time, though, there are also some things that I think that they do, in fact, help men out. It's when you get much, much further down the hole that you begin to start saying, look, we need to separate this and that and the other. And I think, if anything, the thing that really makes them, how do I say, a little bit more on the questionable side to some people is really got to do more with the guest list that they've had, and of course the ladies that come up there. Of course, people love to give them hell about the fact that they bring a lot of use of OnlyFans girls on the show, which by the way they do. But they've also brought some girls there who are not OnlyFans but yet are models who claim that they want to find a man, but yet they're 36 years old and they've never adjusted their standards until now. And I think that what Myron and Fresh are doing is trying to give them a dose of reality of what's to come and what actually awaits them if they don't start looking at men in a different light. Basically, what I view them as is that they are the very, very much the anti-feminist is what they are. They are the anti-feminists on steroids. And there are a lot of things that they say that, quite frankly, I do agree with. However, there are points in time where I do somewhat disagree with them. But then again, though, I don't listen to them on a regular basis, so I'm not going to go too far in that. But I want to keep this more to the political side for the time being and the overall thing of free speech. Now, there's more to this right here that I'm going to go ahead and play for you guys right now, and then we're going to come back on the other end. I'm going to tell you exactly the real reason why I think these guys
top podcasts in the world that are heavily funded, have sponsors, etc. We don't have sponsors like that, guys, because look at the content that we make. We're bringing on really controversial guests, talking about really controversial topics. Guys, we had a debate on a certain topic that I won't even go into that other people would never touch.
Yeah.
Who else is doing that? Giving you guys consistent value, etc. And when I stand on this, when I truly say we have saved more lives and saved more men's and impacted more men's lives than any other podcast on any platform.
And it shows.
I can concretely say that thanks to you guys.
And it shows wherever we go. Fresh and Fit, you guys saved my life. Yo, you changed my entire life. I'm now happy because I was so depressed. It's just like wherever we go, Dubai, Canada, you know, UK, even here in Miami,
Romania,
wherever we go, man.
People,
I was in Jamaica, bro, for an event. People came up to me.
Yeah,
that's real.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. So, like, again, this is kind of what it is. Like I said before, we pride ourselves on like not charging out, and we're still not going to tell you guys like, oh yeah, you have to blah blah blah. But if you can, right, subscribe on Rumble, guys. It's $5, man.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
Actually, Chris,
locals is $20.
Can show you guys as well.
Yeah, we'll show y'all how to do it. We'll show screen.
But to show even more, we're going to be moving the studio to a bigger, better location as well with your support.
I wasn't even going to tell y'all that. I was going to surprise you guys. But yeah, guys, we man, we're going to be all the way transparent.
Yeah. See, okay, someone already joined already. Sam World Z47. So is that so you need to open up the Fresh and Fit Rumble account and then go to subscribe at the very bottom right. So the chat has to be open and the live chat as well.
You know what, man? I'm just gonna say it, guys. We're getting attacked on all angles. I've been like, whether it's the press writing articles on us, videos getting taken down that other channels are not getting taken down, and it's the same exact content or whatever it may be. Rumble getting hit, right, for free speech. Video, like, just get strikes, whatever it may be. Guys, it's gotten to the point now where even where we shoot the location doesn't want us to stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fucking have to say that shit. I really didn't want to have to admit that. I wanted to just move the studio.
You guys heard that, okay? One of the criticisms that I've had is that I have listened to him from time to time. Normally, if I listen to him, it's on like a Saturday morning while I'm on the computer working. And what I'll do is, you see, this is the way things work in my house. I've got the television, and I'm controlling my YouTube through my Amazon Fire Stick or my PS4. Normally, it's the Amazon Fire Stick. I have a second one in the bedroom where there yet is another TV. And then, of course, I've got a computer here. I've got a computer there. And I've got an iPad here. The entire point of this entire thing was to turn this entire thing into an office. So I could technically have YouTube going through 5 separate accounts. And as I've told you guys, I have created other accounts to go along this channel. So that way in 2024, I can start posting different types of content. For example, I plan on doing character analysis studies at one point in time. I plan on, changing gears to 33 to military history. Already begun that process. I plan on doing much deeper social commentary here on this channel here with the use of film and movies and overall stories. I plan on having a gaming channel that's designed for walkthrough. Stuff like that there. Not trying to give you my entire thing, but we'll talk more about that probably in tomorrow's video, which is the C91, because obviously censorship is getting much tighter. So the thing is this right here. I'm not the biggest guy in the world on super chats, and one of the things that I'll hear is like, we're not taking super chats under $100. Now, it's just a small criticism, small critique. That if you want to pay $100 to type something in to get it actually read, that is your prerogative. But oftentimes I look at it and I think to myself, man, it seems to me like it might be a little bit too much, and maybe their lifestyle that you may be trying to preach to a certain degree may be a little bit unrealistic to a certain extent. I'll talk a little bit more about this in the Passport Bros video, because there's some things that, quite frankly, in that situation are definitely the women's fault. But at the same time, though, the whole Passport Bros thing for men does come with a few warnings. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later on this week. That's really the only criticism I have of these guys, outside of some of the stuff that happens on their show. But for the most part, I don't have a problem with Fresh and Fit, and I think that they're really being pointed at, mostly due to the 2024 election. We had this thing out there where a lot of young men are starting to turn conservative. I spoke about this in a previous video. And one thing that the current liberal establishment does not need is that they don't need young males, and they don't need, especially young black males who are showing a tendency to lean Republican. They don't need the 2024 nominee, who more than likely, regardless of arrest or not, will probably end up being Trump anyways, because you actually can't imprison a president unless they've been impeached with conviction while in office. He got impeached twice, but never actually convicted. So therefore, you actually technically cannot actually lock him up and send him to prison. You may can put him in jail for a day or so, but of course, he's eventually going to be let out. The same thing is going to happen tomorrow. You guys will see that the same thing's going to happen on Thursday. My bad, this video is coming out on Friday. The thing is this right here. Should the Republican nominee lean into that graphic, who, by the way, mostly watches Fresh and Fit, what's probably going to happen is that they're probably going to start to identify more with that. And, of course, they also don't want the feminization of men to be stopped. They want to continue feminizing men. They want to continue feminizing young boys. Fresh and Fit's a podcast with about 1.4 million subscribers. And while I'm not the biggest fan of the world of these guys, I don't dislike them. I definitely don't dislike them. Like I said, I do listen to them from time to time. But the thing is this right here, they were looking for excuses to demonetize these guys. So they've been posting on Rumble, and recently on Rumble, they've had a few other characters. I'm not talking about Fuentes or Zerk or any one of those. Don't worry, we'll talk about them more in a second. I told you it was going to be a relatively lengthy video. The thing is this here. They're starting to hit some topics that, quite frankly, the establishment does not like. I mean, they had Ryan Dawson on at one time. No problem there. I'm glad to get the information from him. I advise you guys go check these guys out on Rumble. As a matter of fact, I may even get in trouble for saying that, but at this point in time, I don't care, because I don't expect this video to get a green dollar sign. The fact of the matter is this right here. I think that right there is the real reason why it was, and I think what they chose to do was they chose to use the recent couple of weeks ago, the activities or the thing there where they had Nick Fuentes on. Now, I don't have a problem with Fuentes. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I know some people may say, dude, this guy's like I'm not going to say it. I don't have a problem with him. I really and truly don't. Okay, I've done more and more digging into him, and ever since my Yay video, I obviously needed to do some more information on him before giving an actual positive or negative opinion. Quite frankly, I don't really have one. But of course, you see people like Pearl Davis come out there and apologize for even having any form of conversation with Fuentes, and of course, it seems like the thing to do. I'm not going to do that because, quite frankly, I've never had a conversation with him, nor would I actually apologize for having a conversation with anybody. That's just the way I am. The thing is this right here. They've had him on a couple of times. They've had Sneeko, who also got banned a couple of years ago. And I think what the hell is really going on here is that they used that there as their excuse to actually ban them. As a matter of fact, I could get in trouble tomorrow because of the clip that I've got ready to go for the the C91 video, which of course is connected to Jones. Yes, the fact of the matter is that they probably decided to use that as the excuse to demonetize these guys. Now, I know this video has gone on for a very long time, and of course, I've got to kind of tie things up here in a second. But here's the deal with demonetization. When you demonetize a channel, the idea that, I know somebody says it's not outright censorship because you're still allowed to stay on the platform. What you're doing is you're attacking the incentive to post. Fresh and Fit, by the way, they plan on continuing to post on Rumble, and they're going to continue to post on YouTube. The idea, of course, is to try to take them off the air by attacking their money. My feeling is that these guys will probably turn around soon and try to start posting something like, say, BitChute, Odyssey, and Minds. It's just something that you probably need to be on the lookout for. And like I said before, I'm not telling you guys what to do and what not to do, but if you come across this channel and you're part of the manosphere and you want to know why it is that these guys are being censored, chances are it's probably for what I just said. They've probably been looking to get rid of these guys for a while or demonetize them, but they waited until they had Sneeko on with Fuentes to probably do so. That's probably the real reason why it was that Pearl Davis did what she did a while back when she practically apologized for having being on a couch with Fuentes. That's probably what the hell really happened there. And this right here is where I'm going to go ahead and close the video down. So, do I think that the manosphere is under attack? Yeah. Do I think the red pill guys are under attack? Definitely. Do I believe that it's very possible, however, though, that some of these channels could get removed or get demonetized? Well, you just saw what happened to Fresh and Fit happen. You just saw that Jordan Peterson, who, by the way, is not a part of the manosphere, at least as far as I'm concerned, he's got to go through Reeducation over a load of BS because a bunch of people online don't like the fact that he critiques them. But yet, I still see Zherka's channel active, even though Zherka was claiming the other day that he got demonetized and he lost a bunch of followers and the amount of money didn't exactly match up. Don't worry, I'll leave the video in the description box. I don't see how it is that these guys are being removed. If anything, what they're trying to do is they're trying to downgrade the incentive for these guys to post. So yes, there is some censorship going on there, or attempted censorship. But I haven't seen Donovan Sharp get removed. I haven't seen Michael Sartan get removed. Like I said, removal and demonetization are two completely different things. But I haven't heard about Tomasi getting demonetized. I haven't heard about Sartan getting demonetized. I mean, I do follow some of these guys on Twitter, even though I'm not exactly 100% bros. The fans of these guys are bros, but Rich Cooper is still getting money. There are a lot of guys out there on the platform who would be considered a part of the manosphere who are still getting paid. I'm just going ahead and throwing it out there that I think what's going on was that Fresh and Fit was probably the biggest, and therefore they're becoming the biggest one and possibly the most influential throughout the sphere, that they are an actual threat to feminism. However, like I said before, though, as I have said, and I am as anti-feminist as you can get, you still have to be able to separate the good from the bad. And I think the fact that they had these the characters I mentioned earlier, I think that gave YouTube the excuse to completely demonetize them. However, I do need to end the video on this note here. Do I believe that these guys will remain demonetized? No, I do not. I do not believe that these guys will remain demonetized. What I didn't tell you earlier was that it wasn't just the Fresh and Fit podcast that got demonetized. They demonetized everything. Like, they demonetized all of their backup channels and all that stuff there. This kind of reminds me of the podcast, The Lotus Eaters. Those guys got fully demonetized as well. I remember when Steven Crowder got demonetized. And Steven Crowder's out Red Pill or Red Pill adjacent. They did not demonetize his Crowder Bits, though. They did not demonetize that at all. It just makes me wonder exactly what the true in-game goal here is, because if somebody really and truly cares about the messaging, they'll continue to post regardless, and they'll continue to use alternative platforms, because obviously alternative platforms exist. I think one of the main reasons why it is that YouTube chose to drop the requirement for monetization from 1,000 subscribers to 500 and 4,000 watch hours to 3,000, and I'll probably give you guys a much more in-depth explanation on that at a later date. I think a lot of that was to try to give people incentive to not leave the platform. But yet here we are at this moment in time, and you're still demonetizing people for free speech. Obviously, there's a lot of BS, and of course, I will defend your right to say what you're saying, even if I don't agree with it. I just figured I'd toss that out there. Guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. This video is being made on Wednesday to be released on Friday. I understand I'm doing it a couple days early, but I got a lot of work to get into this entire weekend, so I want to go ahead and get as much as I can, especially out during a slow news cycle, a little bit longer video than normal. But still, though, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.